Till July 1. So he's trying to find all. He got managed.
It's all provided.
Texas. So maybe we got.
But yeah, this grant is successfully.
Yeah, so I'm kind of waiting on
Well,
him,
you know.
because they're gonna do a demo down there.
Well, what am I supposed to think for
But
public program? Yes, yeah.
this whole big time. Big time.
Relax. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, oh.
Yeah. but we'll see. Maybe they'll change my mind when we look at it. Right now the contract is, yes.
Currently.
Yeah, because they contract out their services, so part of it. July 1, they're gonna go in-house like we are. And that's why he's trying to figure. For the operators. But he still needs to find another 4.
Where, what landfill are all?
It's so fun. Light up.
What are they all not?
25.
Oh, whoa,
They go by my place, they're
I
going.
don't like
west. So there's not too many ash landfills in the state of Iowa. And they're all into a landfill.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah, we
I've seen that, the side dumps going by.
Oh my God.
Because I met like last Sunday, we were just, oh. This is a, you know, what
Yeah,
25.
I've been here, well, I have 2 stores, there's 13, there's 4 sitting at the hotel, 5 of them,
oh my God.
2,500.
Oh, somebody had a pond that leaked. That's good for plugging ponds. That's why,
Yeah,
yeah.
he said it's to go west. Well, they haul over how many,
Right.
they bought up.
Mhm.
Yeah. 2 of them. They bought a farm. Yeah, must be big. They bought a farm.
All out.
Now they got hauled out 25.
Ooh, I bet you it's going on state.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I'm well.
It's going west, but it's going right, it's going by me, so.
Oh. It's going something like South Dakota, but
I bet you. Or 4 years out.
Hold up. But they're home with some.
Really?
Yes, 2 or 3 of them.
They don't usually buy.
Geez, I gotta find out where that's going.
Yeah.
It's all not as bad as I.
I don't use.
Mhm. No,
cover it.
our filters,
What something
we
like
got
flying.
yeah, and then our filters are $190 a piece. So, oh my gosh, I'm surprised they didn't get permitted to bury it on site. Because they buried some stuff on site. Yeah.
You want that unlocked then?
No.
Hey,
They don't.
I seen them last night.
I've been.
They reached.
They're going.
they're going west. They're going west.
Sunday, yeah, last night.
I couldn't find out what was wrong with the handprint.
So it's a shame.
The kids came through.
It's right.
Yeah.
It's funny, because I asked him about it, so it's just big. What's the side dumps?
I'm gonna find out now
Yeah.
where they're. We'll find out. Jeez, that's amazing. All right. See you guys.
Well, it's 9:30. All those that so choose, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark is online, so I'll call the meeting to order with 4 present in person, 1 electronically. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded. If you choose not to be recorded, you have the option of leaving. First item on the agenda this morning, our Conservation Director, Barb Schroeder. Morning, Barb.
Good morning. So, we're ended the fiscal year, so we do have some, money left over in our budget. We did not purchase a new vehicle, so, but we did have lots of vehicle repairs. So we're looking around 14,000 left that I'd like to request be put into our capital improvement fund for projects in our parks or matching funds for grants. So that's primarily what I'm here for today, and kind of appreciate that.
And when Barb was talking about spending money and she was wondering if this was a possibility, I said, I didn't understand why our board probably wouldn't allow it. So instead of spending it just to spend it, she's carrying it over. So
I would I'd make the motion to move that over and put it in for project.
I would second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second for the funds transfer authorization for conservation. Is there any further discussion? None. All those in favor say aye.
One other thing, while I'm here at the table, on Wednesday, there is a REAP meeting. It's a kind of a regional assembly. There are assemblies throughout the state. This year, it's being hosted at the Vesterheim Museum from 2 to 4. So if you're available, I'll leave Wednesday, yes, at the Vesterheim Museum. So I'll leave the flyer here, or I can pass it down. Just letting you know about that meeting, and that's, like I said, a regional assembly. And then in the past, they've always been out at NICC. This year, they're doing something different where they're showcasing REAP projects. And so the museum and some other, along with County Conservation Board projects, will be kind of showcased. In our case, you know, the Trout Run Trail, Prairie Farmer Trail, the Freeport Trail, all had REAP funds as matching money towards those federal grants. And then we also had REAP grants that help purchase the Dry Run Greenbelt, which are a series of projects that'll be in the future bike trail, but so far they've been locations for stormwater detention structures to help kind of collect water and decrease that flash flooding downstream from the farms and in Decorah. So it's been a very well worth project so far, being able to have those REAP funds. So it's important to have attendance and show community support. So, but that's all I have for today. And so,
Thanks, Barb.
thank you.
Here's this.
I'll just
Unless one of them.
table.
Have a consent agenda.
Minutes and claims and VA monthly report.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
It's like an autopsy, then we don't know the real person on that. Or it's the county.
No, if it's a resident of another county, and they'll be sending them a bill. If it's a resident of another state, though, most of the states won't, they won't pay. They don't care about residency, they just care where they buy.
Any committee reports?
Use this to sign and then make sure one of the claims things gets.
Committee for, the P and Z meeting is today at 2 to further discuss data centers, their working committee. And then I'll be in West Union tonight for Northeast Iowa Community Action. And this week I've got a behavioral health meeting on Thursday. And while I'm on committees, the Pulpit to Pulpit 5K run walk sponsored by Pulpit Rock Brewing Company. This year, one of the recipients of the funds is Northeast Iowa Community Action. So if you guys want to partake on the July 4th run walk at Pulpit to Pulpit, some of the money goes to community action.
What times? What times? 3 times?
I'll bring that information next week. It's early in
We are meeting next week. There's no meeting next week.
the weekend.
Oh, yeah, it'll be.
I don't have that information. I will find it while we're sitting here.
Yeah, okay, maybe you
And
can
let you
forward
know.
it, yeah.
Well, I'll say it so the public knows too. Go sign this.
Pass that, get that back to Ben.
This is those veterans apps, so when you get to that,
Oh.
and then you'll have a chance to review them if you want before then. Not right now, but. People want to look at them, then you can.
Pulpit to Pulpit 5K run walk. $30 entry fee, 15 for ages 2 through 12, 30 for ages 13 through 99 or above. 8 a.m. is the start time. Registration ends July 4th at 8:05, so you can register same day. And you can sign up if you just type in Pulpit to Pulpit on a Google search, it will take you to the sign up sheet for this. And Northeast Iowa Community Action and the Kids Lunch Club program are both recipients of the funds this year. And that's on Saturday, July 4th.
It's like our next item on the agenda, Mike, your county engineer.
Good morning, everyone. Go through the line item here, and we have Sean Ramba from John Deere out of Dubuque with us today. Build grant. There's nothing new this week. It is now late June, so I expect to hear something any day now on the build grant for W42 south of Fort Atkinson. Subdivision data gathered. Not a whole lot to report on there. Quarry Hill, ball is in Bruning's court on that. Bridge 307, we poured the deck on Tuesday last week. The Brennan's is doing odds and end things to stay busy out there. They had mentioned that they may send some crew up to Bridge 126 They'll do that, based on whatever they think is strategic for their working days.
Longer will 307 be?
We've probably got another month.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's just, there's just gonna be cleanup and,
Cleanup.
yeah, it's gonna be, I think the biggest line items for the funding have been gone through, so we don't have any set days on that. And like I said, they'll probably be working back and forth a little bit, same crew doing Bridge 126 as it is 307. So it's gonna be kind of, might be a little bit dependent on that. That bridge was closed, so there's no real hurry to open it. Yeah, it's not the same as like 320 or something like that. Bridge crew continued to work on W42 culverts last week. 222nd Avenue Road was closed. They were looking at possibly doing that work last week and did not do any work on 222nd Avenue due to the weather. The utility locates are in. So we are looking at a good opportunity to do that perhaps this week.
So
Second,
the bridge or the culvert they were doing on W42,
they got backfilled.
I was gonna say they probably have that finished or getting close.
They were talking about working on Friday to finish backfilling it, so it should be finished, is the last I'd heard.
Are they moving to the next one to the north now?
I have to talk to somebody about that.
Okay, because people, they're always asking me, so which way can we sneak around
Oh.
or this way or that way?
Yeah, I could do a better job of keeping the public up to speed on that. I'll look into doing that,
Okay,
and then I'll just forward you, I can
Yeah,
forward you
just
directly
send
on
me-
the communications.
answer some questions that way.
Yeah, no, this is the second time you kind of asked in-depth questioning, and I'm just, it's a little bit of a, what is the weather looking like? kind of
Yeah,
Decision.
I know that plays a big part into it.
Rock resurfacing operations worked out of Ridgeway and Locust last week. They're looking to continue out of Locust at the beginning here. Of note, that is not on this report. They're looking at a bridge stabilization effort on Meadowlark tomorrow. It's gonna be the 900 feet. Gonna put magnesium chloride east of Highway 52 on Meadowlark, so we'll have the road closed down for 3 to 4 hours to get that operation done. So. Seven, that crew will arrive on June 24th, which is Wednesday this week. We'll shut down Bluffton Road. And it should be finished by the end of the week. So.
Sandblast and.
The sandblasting and painting, yeah, so. Look. We spent a little bit extra money on
That's
it.
the one right by Miscellaneous.
It's 20 foot wide bridge, yeah, it's already tight, there's nothing. They're gonna have to use the bridge to stage their equipment, so we have to shut it down. While ago, shop had. It's on the radio. We already had we had a couple of questions already this morning on that.
Auto seal one. There.
Yep, so the radio announcement for the bridge painting had mentioned last week, but it was actually this week, so. I'll pass that for what it's worth, I'll pass that on. Yeah, so as Sean is here, we had discussions a while back in December with Maaten County and Mulching Heads to get. We received 3 quotes from equipment on different brands. I have attached a bid tab of sorts. And I recommend going with the success that Maaten County has had with their, is it Denise CMOF?
Dennis Seamoff,
Okay.
Mulching Head.
So that mulching head is the one that they suggested us look into. Took a little bit to, work with John Deere to get that mulching head and see if they had it in their system, and they do. I think it's available.
It's available, you have, with the options that would go on that quote would be 4 to 5 weeks. They have one in stock.
Sure.
To go along with that, excuse me, to go along with that, the machine itself needs a constant flow kit to make this cutter head
At work.
work all the time instead of overworking the hydraulic.
That's what I was gonna say, make sure that was so high.
There's a quote on that also.
And that's also on that HKX part of the flow kit. That is the bid on there. It's
They put an extra oil cooler on for that then, or is what it amounts to, or?
No, they put extra lines and that stuff on going to it, that it stays, and you tie both pumps together to make sure your flow is there all the time, so you're not robbing the oil from it. Because each one of them attachments run right around 30 to 44 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
So it's been a lengthy process. I quoted 3 different quotes. One quote there, never even heard of it. I seen it out of Con Expo Construction Ag in Vegas this last February. So I quoted that, working with Lenny and Brock down at the shop. That they had heard. Oh, that's right. That they had heard, they were talks with Mahaska County, that they were running this Dennis Seamoff head. So Lenny reached out to me and asked, and I said, we're a dealer for Dennis Seamoff, don't sell them much, but I'll do whatever you recommend. You know, them talking to another county that uses this every day, that has used it for a while. So I reached out to them, gave them the make and model. They suggested, going with this model here.
How long have they been using it?
several years.
That's what Lenny told me, it was a couple years.
Yeah.
And they've had great luck with it.
3 or 4 is what they had discussed. And I went off memory here, so, but,
That's a good test.
well, 'cause especially with the luck that we've had with, recently, with the diamonds that we've had, this is gonna be, instead of the rotary type of thing, it's a drum mulching head, so it'll be a different type of,
Oh, okay.
head, so we're not comparing apples to apples here exactly, but it's a little pricier type of mulching head. Hopefully we get what we want out of this. And the idea here is that we would spend a lot more time using that to not to be in the ditch and cleaning up, harder to get stuff. Yeah, exactly. Should save some chainsaw time as well. That being said, going back to the quotes, as you can tell, the Indico that Sean had mentioned, we're not sure about a lot of things. It's new. The cheapest alternative, the middle of the road, is the Dennis Seamoff. And then another one that I think that John Deere had some success with was this FAE mulching head. That was the highest priced one, based on this, and based off the discussions we had in Mahaska County. I do recommend that we move forward with the Dennis Seamoff purchase. I'd like to make that purchase in this year's budget, fiscal 2026. So I'll be working.
I'd move to approve the Dennis
Second.
Seamoff cutting head.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Dennis Seamoff mulching head.
For this year's budget,
Any further discussion? None, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
You'll have to work with Tony to get that in.
I talked to him this morning, so he's expecting us to get a handwritten this week, so. Big day today. The W40 A14 Odyssey project is projected to start today. I was briefed, but I'm forgetting where they're starting out. So I don't have a whole lot to tell you. I plan on going out to the site shortly. Durapatcher is in Spillville this week.
Yeah, I think they got in there some last week.
They should have, yes, they were, I know it was moving in the middle of the week last week, so,
So thanks the county greatly because that's going to help get through the winter and circumstances.
yes.
I saw we got a letter from the DOT on that, bid rejection this morning.
Yes, that has gone through, yes, so that came through this morning officially, but it was all but official stuff because they weren't there yet last week at the end of the week. Scoop is in Austin, Fort Atkinson this week. That is the engineer's report this week. I have the quotes that were sent to us from Martin Equipment out of Dubuque, if you would like to see those. And then one more thing I had, I think is a question, I don't remember, is it Steve or what, but a couple weeks ago, we got request. St. Benedict's cemetery request. I have not done anything on that yet. Do you have a phone number that I can reach out on that?
I don't right offhand. I can give.
If you can email that to me or text it to me, I put it off and I need to get back to it as it comes down to. So that was the question I had for you. That's all I have this week.
Thank you for making the trip up and for Dubuque today.
Thank you. Appreciate you giving us the opportunity.
Yep, no problem.
What kind of warranty comes on?
A year,
I know it's probably not much.
a year, and that's the thing on, well, it's the cheaper one or the higher one, The cheaper one, I don't know nothing about it. But it just, I met him. I kind of was intrigued by what he was offering, but for the damage wise and going like that, because it is a highly, damageable machine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this one here is smaller cutting widths, 30 inches wide versus the Fay that I quoted the first time that we sell a lot more of on smaller excavators. But that's a 53-inch cut. And with the weight and that stuff on the front of that machine, I didn't want it to be tipsy and that stuff. So working with your guys down to shop, it was better, the weight and everything, and listening to somebody from another county that's ran this before. My worst thing I don't want to do is sell a county.
Yeah.
Something that you're not happy with, and then my phone's always ringing. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Kind of took this one from another county that I don't even deal with. Just,
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, all you have to say is, hey, you guys are asking. for
well,
this.
no, it's.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, I think there was a net lead when you guys bought that giant rotary cutter from straight from Diamond, and you guys purchased the machine from me. The first one was way bigger than what it was supposed to be, and then the next one came, and for cutting small little brush, yeah, that would work great, but cutting trees up to 6-8 inch, that doesn't work, that stuff. And I don't like walking into places and putting my hand like this, when I see people, I want to be face to face, you know what I mean? So I appreciate.
Thank you.
How big a tree will this one handle?
Is that?
How big a tree will this rotary?
What?
This will cut up to 6 inches. But from what I'm told is if you go slower, then you can do bigger ones.
Just a common sense thing.
I mean, right away, when people see a big 10-inch oak tree, and that they see 10 inches road in the. And it doesn't do it right away, they call. So I rather say it under. And if it does more.
Yeah.
I don't like misleading.
5 inch, I think we're looking at just sawing the big.
A lot of them in box elder softwood anyway, so.
Yes.
Yeah. They're between oak and a box elder. You want
There's
to cut it.
been a lot of discussion about how much it'll cut based off what is spec'd out versus what it is we're gonna try to really do. I hope that we are conservative with our equipment here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's fine.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah, see you later.
Reads.
Yeah, that
I mean, that's,
decreased width will really help.
and then you don't need a 53 inch. You ain't-
Tipping on something like that, especially if you're on the downslope or something.
Need a little small space.
It is, because otherwise they overheat.
Don't know what him we've ordered from Decor Rental, but we spent a weekend doing it. Which we own one.
Usually get a cooler.
It's just not the cutter, it's everything else that overheats and gets taken. Are you gonna keep these up in their office?
I'll keep them, yeah, I just. Faith said that she would supply all of them, even though they made recommendations, but that way you could see all of them.
$10, next item on the agenda, toys go round. Discuss CSB news. Morning.
And I'm not sure, I sent those to Ben electronically. If you want a copy of them, we got them. Thank you.
Okay. I found it interesting to walk in at the tail end of that presentation. On purchasing equipment for the county and thinking that's a conversation that does happen in every county across the state, most counties across the country. And the difference about this conversation we're gonna have regarding the toy lending library is this is unique to Winneshiek County. This place does not exist in almost any other county in the state, very few places across the country. It is unique to this county. I was in the toy library recently and a grandmother from Davenport came in with her grandchildren, buying a membership for her daughter that lives here and said, "Oh my God, I wish that we had anything like this in our community." So whatever the future holds for our space and the use of that space, this is to understand how unique the toy lending library is to Winneshiek County and to know the value that it brings to the community, to young families, to retired grandmothers and aunts and uncles who use the library routinely. So I know I have an interesting relationship with the community services building because I know that building well because I'm in there 5 days a week, year round with my relationship with the pantry, but a long-standing relationship with the library, with the toy lending library when it was housed at the public library. And then when it moved to Jim Sims's building, which was the old Radio Shack building during COVID, we're used to making some transitions and we are by far in the best place we've been in and proud of the fact that we're part of the community services building. We feel passionately that that's why we exist, to serve the community, and have been doing so for 34 years and literally have touched the lives of thousands of Winneshiek County residents because of it. I do understand the economic situation we're in with respect to the building, square footage, the need for additional office space. And we believe that, and working with the tenants that are in that building currently, that there are ways to resolve these issues for space beyond just, I did read the newspaper article about Spectrum last week and market rate, but to also understand we are not, we're not a revenue generating organization. None of those organizations down there are. Their community service organizations, and there's value to having those available to the community. With that, I'm open for questions and conversation.
How likely is it that you could bump up the fundraising aspect of it?
Good. It is good. It depends on what, we looked at 20% increase and I realized that's not getting to the number that the county is thinking of. Look at our budget and realize we're a $30,000 a year operation all in, and that's, everything. And so we start talking about a significant increase. How doable is that? Not with the current staffing. We are open 10 hours a week. We pay our part-time staff person for 11 hours who does cleanup work for the additional hour. We contract with a Spectrum client who does toy cleaning for us, and we pay a bookkeeper $35 an hour for about 3 hours a month to do our bookkeeping for us. We know there's a lot of support for the toy lending library. I have 125 signatures on a petition that without any effort at all, we were able to collect 125 signatures in support of the library. We know that when we have reached out to the community and said, we're doing fundraising, they respond to that. So it really becomes the number we're looking at. You see, we know we're paying $500, and I thought about this, how we came to that when we got into this partnership, when it was owned by the Spectrum Network. We realized what a deal we were getting, and also that it was the agreement that we would also employ a Spectrum client or more as we could. So did I answer your question, Shirley?
Yeah.
We know we can up our fundraiser and can and should. It just becomes what number are we looking at? Market rate, that would be half, if not more than our budget, more than half of our budget.
What do you think is the number of clients that you service in a year? Individual clients?
907. Thank you, Jean.
907 children came through our door last year. That does not, let's say there's a family of 3, one comes in with parents, the other 2 are at home playing.
Jean's our librarian, who is our staff person. So does that answer your question, Stacey?
3,513 toys were checked out last year. We are a community service and we belong in that community service building.
I'm a member there and I've used that for my grandchildren when they come to visit or when I go visit them. And it's been such a wonderful resource that I don't want to store all the toys at home. And it's just really fun.
And gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, but gentlemen particularly, for those of you who don't know me, my background's early childhood education. This is not just about making toys available to families. This is about learning through play and stimulating brain development, problem solving. That's the parents that we serve, the families that we serve. Any one of them, you say, what do you think of this place? And they almost have to shake it off and say, oh my God, this is amazing. And then they assume that it's that well, supported and structurally sound in the community that they don't have to answer that question. But it's not just about getting children toys to play with, but about stimulating brain development, social skills, problem solving. And that's been my passion for staying involved long after my kids grew out of the use of toys go around.
We have several families with children go through therapy where they need a certain kind of toy and they need a certain kind of variety that we serve, so.
You guys been through it yet? You walk through.
I think Shirley had a good point. You ought to have special grandparent accounts. Become really more of a funding source, to help. So
I
if the
think there are.
grandchild comes to visit, they can go down and do what Shirley's doing.
And we do, Steve. We have 3 months accounts, and the other thing is we have reached out to Winneshiek County, the hospital, and are working with the OB department so that any child born in Winneshiek County, not born in Winneshiek County, but children that live in Winneshiek County are born there, get a free, is it 3 months, Jane? That they can utilize at their liking. They can come in and use it a year later if they choose to. We've done that with Sunflower Childcare as well, do outreach. We're doing outreach in lots of different areas, but I agree with you. 25% of Winneshiek County are retired folks, and that's a market to tap into and understand the value of play with their grandchildren.
Our largest grandparent time is during the summer. The families can travel with no school.
May I ask, please, have we come up with a thought? Have we come up with a plan? Is there a number that you're looking at that I can take to my board and say,
I guess I'm always the bad apple here. So I'll just get out and say it. We're paying $970 something a square foot for public health, and we paid $1.25 million for that building. And we're just getting our monthly cost back, zero. You gotta, because somebody asked me, well, what are you getting for rent out of them? Aren't you getting something for the building? No, I said, we're barely covering our monthly expenses. And their mouth will just about drop to hit the floor. I said, all we're trying to do is help people out. But our funds are limited. Our House File 718, we only got so much money to give out, and we've got to, like I said, we're gonna itemize or start at 1 to 10 or A to Z and prioritize. And I'm sorry, but I got 13 grandkids and I know what it's like. And toys, I guess, are not on the top of my priority list. When we got gravel roads and blacktops, you can't drive on.
I would challenge Mark, if I may, is what I said at the beginning. Gravel roads and blacktops and bridges are conversations that they're having in every county and across the country. But this is unique to our community. This really is a rich resource that we should be marketing to every real estate agent. And part of it is, other than our, you've got our budget before you, other than our part-time folks, everybody else are volunteers, and most of them are either parents or working people like myself. But for the county to understand how this is part of the fabric of who we are as a county, and to sell that and to market that. And I agree, Steve, outreach to the community to say, look, this is this is a line item in a lot of budgets. This is simply a line item in a lot of budgets. All right. I'm hoping maybe this meeting is an opportunity for the community to do this, to embrace this unique community service and step forward and offer additional support. If we, Mark, the thing about rent, I get that. But, you know, these are community service organizations that are not generating revenue. Market rate, we can't hit without raising our fees to a point where we're then pricing some families out of the service that we offer.
But we gave a building to Northeast Iowa Community Action. We give them how many dollars, and they do us tremendous service, but we're paying them another $30,000 or $36,000 a year rent to stay there. So we can't pay $1.25 million for a building and just let people use it for nothing. That just doesn't work that way and pay all the expenses. It is not physically responsible for us as sitting here at this board, is my opinion. And it's my opinion.
We would love to sit down with whoever's looking at space in that building. And I've talked to all of the groups that are in that building, minus the Department of Human Services, our newest neighbor. It's sometimes harder to step across to get in that door. Anyway, have conversations and say, look, we're all trying to serve the same people in this community. How can we do this? If we walk away from the table and we're at the same place, then we'll have that conversation. But I've talked to Spectrum. I know the pantry. I know Toys Go Around. We want to sit down and say, how do we best utilize our space? We'd like Department of Human Services to be part of that conversation. We're all trying to serve the same clients and same families in this community. And there is space in there. We all know there's space in there that is not efficiently used and could be used better. And it's not, you know, I think about the toy lending library in our washing area, and I know you're all familiar with where that space is. There's a little wiggle room there, but you look at our inventory, there's not much wiggle room there. Same goes for the pantry. So it's up to our other two neighbors. Are you willing to sit down and have a conversation? What's best for the community so that we can all be winners out of this? We still will look at increasing our rent to the, you know, come with a number that we can make work in our budget, and with additional fundraising. We want to sit down with our neighbors and say, you know, I actually rent property here in town. This is not a typical landlord tenant lease deal. We're a community service in a community service building. And so this is different than that. It's not simply, we've spoken, here it is. All right, let's look at the value that the things that are under that roof bring to the community. And how do we support those? How do we get public health in there? And do we need space for another county office in there? There's space in there that's not efficiently being utilized. So speaking for Toys Go Around and for the pantry, we want to have that conversation with our neighbors in that building and with the county to do what's best.
We have to furnish HHS with facility, and that's their area there, and that's what they're using. So we're required by the state, because we have a 2080 or whatever. So that's their space and that's what they have.
Well, I may agree with you. I don't believe HHS needs that much space as what they have, but that is what the state said they need. And so we have no plan with the state in order to even get them to move.
And I understand that, but if we're talking about eliminating community services because there's no willing to at least have a conversation, would they have that conversation? That's food for thought.
There's no place. I mean, we've tried. We've been there, and they said they may have to house more people down the road here. They don't know because for the next year or so.
State
They may have to work. They may not have enough room for what they could have to put in there. So,
That's HHS.
yeah. Because we had that conversation.
Is there any support from the city?
There is not. We don't get any government money other than reduced. Right.
Have you ever went to people down there and see, since they've expanded their building, if there's any way to work in there?
We have feelers out, you know, we are not sitting there quietly. We know we know what's going on with that building and the need for space and so have you. So we've reached out to several different organizations. So, I mean, same thing with you know, the new building at the fairground, or the construction company that closed in that building. And there are we all know this, there's incredibly limited space in Winneshiek County for finding good office space, particularly for a service like this. But yes, we have talked to several organizations. We've reached out, so informally had thinking, all right. So I will say, this is the community services building, and we're proud of being part of that. And it is the best space the library's been since, well, forever, because it started in the library, in the basement of the library, then moved, and I was part of both of those moves. So,
Well, in a perfect world situation, we'd love to keep the rent right where it is, but you
and
have to understand from our viewpoint that, like Mark said, we're just breaking even there. We need to set some money aside for repairs to the building and this and that.
There's what, 12
We-
furnaces in there when they go, and the roof and air
that's,
conditioners, that's.
I do hope that we're moving forward and with the solar on that building, which will be some help. I mean, you know, that's, what are they saying, $8,000 a year on utility cost reduction, so.
We haven't seen no figures on nothing yet.
We're working on it. We're waiting on that.
We haven't seen no figures of what it could save us or what it could cost us on the roof too.
Can I
That's,
back this up just a little bit? And I feel like there's like this combative defensiveness, and I don't want that to be part of this conversation. I'd like to see us have some productive conversations and get all the players in the room together and talk about the space and come up with solutions. There's a lot of creative people there. And I think that solutions could be come up with if we have those comfortable conversations and critical conversations, both. So I'd be willing to help work on this and come to agreements on spaces and what works and what doesn't work. And I'd be happy to do that.
What, if I may ask, would be a number that you believe is doable for Toys in the Run?
It's a great question. We budgeted in 2026 for $600, a 20% increase. 40% increase is $200 a month, you know. 50%, what are we getting to? $300 a month in the $30,000 budget. Now, if we can't get close, and I don't know what the square footage is there, Dan. I don't know what our square footage is.
20-some hundred feet,
You know,
just short of 2,100 square feet.
in just the library, just the toy lending library space.
Yep.
So if I can do the math on that and get back to you on that, we're willing to do our part. But again, look at our operation. We're a $30,000 a year operation, and we don't generate revenue per se.
Why don't we just circle back in July? We're not meeting next week. Circle back in July and see what's developed.
Okay,
Idea.
talk to our board and do outreach, and I do believe there's a lot of support for this organization in the community. And that's something that historically the library did not do. And part of it was when we were housed at the library, I think we paid $1 a month for rent. And so, you know, this has been a change in our structure in the last few years, and we're adjusting for that. So,
And looking at your statement here, the anonymous donor basically paid up for all the rent.
correct. And that was the letter that was written. So,
And I'm suggesting reaching out to the city and see if, what percentage do you think are city residents versus county? I know that's difficult to assess.
you know, it's,
I could get that number for the next meeting.
But then and then see if the city, I know the city is willing to spend money in a lot of different directions. Some of it I question, but that's just me.
and
But
So do you have to be a member to use this?
Yes, sir.
you do.
Then how can you have 900 people come through and you only got 90 members?
Because
That's 10, that's an average of 10 family members. For
I have some families that come 3 days a week.
Oh, you're counting visits, 900 visits.
visits.
children visit.
907 children crossed our threshold last year. Some of them repeats, obviously.
they are repeats,
That's what I mean. You only got 90 members.
right?
Yeah, that's what I was having a hard time. Figuring how we could.
Well, the more
But-
positively we talk about it and the more we can get the story out there, membership can increase.
And Mark, I think
positivity.
sorry, sure.
That's okay.
That 90 number, you know, but over 30 years, we've served nearly 3,000 families in Winneshiek County. And sometimes it's important to us right now when our children are 0 to 5 or 0 to 6. When they grow out of that, we're not as engaged with that. And so there's work we can do. I'm just saying that there is a $30,000 operation. There's a limit we're going to get to. And I hear what you're saying as far as
If you
space.
take just a market rate, they say at $10 for easy calculation, that's 21,000 a year, which is 2/3 of your total budget. That's not even feasible. So
Thank you, Ben.
Can I make one last comment, please?
Sure.
Mark had said that we need to prioritize. I'm starting my 39th year in education. The children are our future. I think we should prioritize on that.
But we can't drive on some of our roads. School
Different
buses
budgets.
break, shackled on we got a pavement on North Ridgeway, and fire trucks won't drive it because it's too rough.
Different budget
I
lines
can
though.
prioritize. The minute, if you can't get out your driveway and go down the road anymore, that's the first thing everybody uses in the morning. Is a road or a bridge. They back out their driveway and go to work. That's the first thing everybody uses every morning.
And I would,
I've preached that since I've been here, and I'm always the bad apple sitting up here, and I will continue to be. I don't care, but that's where that's where they got me sitting here.
I would ask though that this is a conversation about this library that no other county can have. Because they don't have this, and that is unique to us, and we should market that hard. All right, I know. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Still call us a unicorn.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, you guys.
Next item agenda, Andy Vandermountain, our county attorney. Andy.
Good morning. What do you have for me today?
What do you have?
Well, I have a deed for the sale of the HMS property that I ran off on Thursday, and then on Friday was copied on an email from the state to Maaten's attorney saying, yeah, we don't want to enter into any kind of a permanent agreement out there because we're thinking putting our own septic in, and that means you'll have to put your own well in. And, but we might do something on a temporary basis. So I haven't heard any more after that, but I think I'll have you go ahead and sign the deed and closing statements anyway while I'm here. And it seems to me they can deal with that detail, and if they can't work it out, they'll be back to talk to you about how they're moving forward, I guess.
Yeah, my question for you relating to that was, have we closed? Because as a public entity, we still have to have boiler inspections, but they, as private individuals, do not. Our insurance company requires it. And as long as we can get this accomplished before the end of July, I don't think I need to have a boiler inspection done out there. Because it's really not necessary. Get the boiler shut down and there's no safety issue, but it's just a technical thing that would have to happen.
I'm still pushing for end of this fiscal year, so if
Yeah, I thought-
that's kind of what I was.
So, but I need to ask that question.
So anyway. Dan, if I can get your signature on the closing statement. I'll get your signature and Dan's on the deed, so while we're. Your signature on that. The other item you asked me to look at was this solar proposal. You're locked in for 25 years, okay? If you sell it, your buyer is locked in, they assume that they take it over, they have the same rights, obligations, everything that you would have if you continue to own it for 25 years. So with that in mind, if you have any thoughts of not maintaining this building or keeping it for a lengthy period of time, I would take this into consideration on this. The other issue that jumped out at me, and Mark brought up the roof.
Yeah.
And one of the things, page 15, 511, in the event any portion of the roof of the buyer's property or site requires repair or replacement, parties will cooperate to minimize dislocation, disconnection to a time when solar is not as prevalent or not generating as much power. But then it goes on to say any lost production during the period in which the facility is unable to generate energy or its production is reduced shall constitute a production loss for which the buyer will be obligated to pay seller in accordance with the 5.5. So you are the buyers.
Would that mean if there's hail damage to the panels?
This doesn't talk about the hail damage. This talks about the roof.
Just the roof?
Say if we had to repair the roof, if we got to take the solar down, it ain't
And
producing,
we're
we have to
paying.
pay him back, plus,
The
we're.
time that you're not in production.
I think as a county, we're.
And those were things that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
The hail damage, I think would be, there's insurance provision that, they insure your particular.
Yeah, solar guy he'd be liable.
If the roof was damaged because of it, then
Then,
now which one
yeah,
supersedes?
You would want to, have your insurance cover not only the roof, but the lost production from it, I guess,
I
right?
think it was,
But that's a contractual obligation that you've assumed, not one that, your insurance company is likely to say, yeah, we'll pay it for you. So I mean, these are two of the things that jumped out at me just based on your comments the last couple of weeks on this.
I did notice the city has had a similar agreement for a building on, and that they had not said they weren't gonna do it, but instead had, we're working on the terms of the contract. So I mean, if you don't like some of those terms, rather than just saying, no, we aren't gonna do it, maybe you need to negotiate with them how you would rewrite the contract that makes everybody happy.
I mean, I think the roof one is easy to rewrite. The 25-year one concerns me a little bit in terms of how you handle that.
to me is.
And it may be that you find a buyer that has,
Yeah.
is looking forward to having solar already installed and some type of agreement in place. But you can't assure yourself of that. It's just sitting here today.
No, it might actually drive down your
The value of your
value of
building.
the building.
Building,
for
yeah.
Sale price.
Yeah.
It could.
But it's not a motivator for sale, per se.
No.
Or by seeing that stipulation could use it to their own benefit to drive.
I guess the county, if you're a private individual and you want to make that decision, do the 25 years, but for the county, I'm not in favor of doing a 25-year commitment with, on a building that's 20 years, the building's gonna be 50 years old, then the maintenance could get pretty ugly by with that on there. I guess if it was a new building, you put it up, probably it would be.
You have 50-year life expectancy on that roof.
No, that's what I mean. It's 20 years old already. At least. Now you're putting it on the 50-year expectancy, and that would be pretty, if it was a new building and you did it, then maybe you might. It would be that older building, 25 years, that's.
I think it's worth looking at changing some of the language and seeing if we can negotiate.
But I
a
just,
different
I don't want to be in
contract.
there, I don't want to be
And
in
then
there
we could-
25 years.
I'd like to finish my sentence just for once. I'd
That's,
like to, are you done?
yeah, I was talking first, Shirley. Yes, I was.
Okay. Shirley,
Thank you. Complete sentence. I think we could look at this and negotiate, changing some language, and if we can't negotiate to the point we are comfortable with it, then we can say no. But it's actually worth looking at this because solar does work and it does reduce costs. And I think it's worth looking at. I'm done.
Ben, did you read through that agreement that the city was?
I didn't, I just noticed an article, I remember on one of the news agencies that they had tabled the agreement in their meeting so that, and had to have their attorney negotiate with the Novak Electric or whoever it was to make some different changes in the agreement. So maybe is there a number of years you would be comfortable with, and Andy can ask them if they're willing to change for that. And the roof thing, I think, is an important part too.
He, when he did bring out that agreement, he said this is an agreement that we basically used with everyone, if I recall correctly. And I guess if we were gonna consider going forward at all, I was interested to see what changes the city of Decorah would be looking at and what their concerns are.
Sure.
If they mirror what Andy says.
That makes sense.
The,
Is there new information down there?
yeah, quick search shows that a standing seam roof, which I'm not sure if that's exposed fastener or standing seam. A typical standing seam roof has a life expectancy of 40 to 70 years, but a copper, zinc, and so forth are could be a century or longer. But a exposed fastener metal roof generally lasts 20 to 30 years. So that would be a definite concern, because you got a 20-year-old or 20-plus-year-old roof, and you're putting all of this on top of it with another 25-year commitment.
Well, and that's one of the concerns.
Ouch.
We have roof issues now,
Now, yeah.
and look at the age of the building.
Yeah, and that was
But
I mean, if it was a standalone out
40 years
off of the roof, a standalone out on the ground, I'd say, no problem, go for it. On the roof that's the scary part. I mean, if it was a 612 pitch, it'd be a whole different story too. You're looking probably a 412 at the most down there.
Well,
I can find out what the city is looking at. Get that back to you if you'd like.
Is there any space on the end of the building that there could be a standalone over a parking area?
Usually-
Not really.
we're conjoined with that one with the gym
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
And we have just limited space out of the, I mean, just a park strip basically on two sides.
So maybe you're gonna find out what the city's asking for changes, and maybe even or can continue, look at what type of roof it is. I mean, maybe 15 years would put you at the bottom end of that 40. And
yeah.
maybe that would be something you could accept better than 25 or something.
But if we're looking at a roof that only has that stretch it to 30-year.
Right. You need to know what kind of roof you have so you can get a better idea.
That building was probably built in that early 2000. Not sure, 100% sure of it. If it's already clean.
well, why don't we do that if you would, please? Andy?
Sure. Anything else?
I have nothing.
Right,
Great,
thank you.
A couple miscellaneous items, first of which is the annual transfer of appropriations resolution.
Yeah, two resolutions here. One is for appropriations of the next year's budget. The other is for transfer of funds to the road department.
I move to approve the annual transfer and appropriation resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the annual transfer and appropriations resolutions. Is there any further discussion on this? There is none, yet our resolutions.
Aye.
Shirley?
Aye.
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I also pass unanimously. Next, we have the appointments to the VA Commission.
Faith sent out a note last week with the recommendations of the. So after doing their interviews and reviewing the applications are there if anyone wants to see them. They were recommending reappointment of Elizabeth Clemish and a new appointment of Brian Heath.
I move to approve the two appointments that the VA Commission recommended.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the two appointments to VA Commission. Chose. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimous. Don't have anything else?
I do. We have some committee, kind of put it in the committee. I had a conversation at the end of last week to further complicate things relating to the CSV building. Okay, that's why I suggested quietly that we perhaps kick the can down the road for a moment. Is when I originally started looking at where to locate the county attorneys, the first blush look was at the assessor's office, of which, as we went through 6 months, the next 5 months plus of perusing around where within a courthouse we could do it, we're back to the assessor's office. Jared had looked at the space himself and felt that it would be very feasible, if here is a layout of moving, there's 3 copies there, one for each, and I'll make one for Ben, to move his space from the courthouse and allowing that space to be used by the county attorney, reconfigured for the county attorney. And if we took the center core section, which last week Spectrum said they would be willing to vacate, they never really meant to keep that space to begin with, was their comment, if you recall. So I did a layout this weekend, and this is it. And this is a very simple one. This is, if you look at this drawing and you're looking on the left side where it says entry foyer, that is the public space where you walk in and you walk straight in, there's a glass window. That space behind there is the space that could be occupied by the assessor very simply. All that it requires is putting a door in off of the lobby side, which you see in the lower left corner, a little stub wall that closes off creates a barrier to the rest of the office unless it's acceptable. There is an existing door that's not shown here behind where the office manager space is in that wall at the upper portion that goes into the Spectrum space, but that would be if any kind of change would create a hallway back there for Spectrum to be able to come off the lobby to get back to their own space. Then on the back right-hand side, there is what was a file room originally, then is converted to an office, to simply put a dividing wall in there and create a hallway and a doorway there, which would then create an opening into the restrooms and the common lunchroom area. So it simply means put in one wall, create an opening, a little stub wall, and add 2 doors. And the 2 interior office spaces are office petitions, which we already have from the DHS building on 52. And so the out-of-pocket cost on this is significantly less than anything else we've even looked at. And this would not then mean that we need to move the entire engineering office out of the courtroom. So I didn't do any layout of the attorneys going into that space. That's to be continued. But this right here is a very much easier solution to creating a space for the county attorneys than temporary space and then permanent space and so forth. And then down the road, it could be planned. The engineer eventually would probably be better off suited out of the county courthouse. Yes or no? I don't get any real reaction from Michael yet. And I haven't discussed this with him. So this was kept under wraps until I looked at the space this morning with Mark. I talked only privately with Jared about this before I brought it to the board. But this,
And the whole idea was that at some point you're gonna move some of the engineering staff upstairs and the county attorney would temporarily go into the one corner, but that
Yeah.
wasn't big enough. And so eventually Michael could maybe move out to the county shop, but that was gonna take 2-3 years. And so
and a number of things,
this would be a way to bypass all of that.
So
bypass it or plan for it in the future.
is this Washington Street?
Yes.
Okay. So none of these would have windows, right? It's all
No.
interior.
It's all, and it's an open, very airy space if you were to walk in there, at full high ceiling and all. So it's not, nothing about it feels closed in. If you're going to feel closed in, the only one that would feel closed in would be the assessor's office in the corner.
Because they came back on.
It was a file room, but you can mitigate that, and I'd recommend that that door be changed to a one panel glass door.
To let light.
And the reason, a one light door, and the reason I say that is in any public space where you may have people mix it, you don't want a situation that can create something that says, well, the assessor made a pass at me. I'm just using that as an example. From an HR perspective, you don't want anything that creates an issue like that. So I think this could be a very cost-effective solution, a very easy thing to implement since Spectrum said they could easily clear out of that space, and the amount of construction work is very minor.
Do we need any permitting from the city on any of this
These are just.
configuration?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
There's no electrical changes. There's no sprinkler
putting in a-
changes.
How about
Couple
fire?
There's no problem with fire. You've got easy ingress and egress with 2 doors, actually 3.
With that separate one in the assessor's, room, that would give you a third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got the 3rd door that can go out to the
You're looking up here for another door.
No, it's already there. to the top
behind,
left.
top left, you see the office manager
Okay.
space.
This is the hallway that goes into that break room, basically. And then you have your emergency exit right out the backside.
And from there, it's just straight out the back, just like everybody else in the building can go. So everything about it works out to be a very kind of in my mind, it's a slam dunk thing as far as it's good office flow. I showed this to
And even
Jared on Friday, and he did a quick first blush look at it, and he was already aware of it because he and Dana and Don had already walked over there way back when and looked at that space.
So it's basically you come in those front doors, the middle of the building.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Right straight ahead.
indirectly, this then, if Spectrum continues to pay it at the same rent, it's basically they're paying almost double per square foot because they're giving up half of their.
That's nice. Listen, this is this is a little
Maybe
less than 600 square feet,
Okay. So
but they are going to also give up. There's talk about creating a wall, and they feel that they can occupy a much more reduced space, Mark.
so that will indirectly increase their square foot rate because they're giving up so many square
And
feet.
We're actually, it's justifiable because what this, the board can turn around as other counties have done and put into a subsequent budget, the fact that the assessor is going to pay office space that's provided by the county. You remember surely the comment done at ISAC.
The problem, say right now, is that the assessors with the new bill, they are now limited, just like you.
Yeah.
So they won't be able to say, oh, well, we're gonna need to pay.
They get to cut just like the county board does.
Then if we had done it, if they had done it under the old
Yeah.
House Bill 1718, when the assessor's levy wasn't limited,
Yeah.
they could have increased to they had a dollar cap, which they aren't, but they could have increased to help pay for that. But now with the new bill, they have the same, their limited percentage growth each year.
That's-
I think if nothing else, I don't know if you're able to say, well, we're gonna charge you $1,000 a month or whatever, that they'd be able to fit that in their budget, but if nothing else, we should be able to assign a portion of the utilities and stuff. They could be able to fit into their budget. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's long-term cost savings opportunity there. and state law may change on all this, because when it comes down to the cost of reassessing when they have to do their 5-year plans and the huge amount of money that's involved with that, without levy change over years, is gonna be.
They may need to have a different setup than just the 2 or 3%. I don't remember if they got the 2% like we did, or if they got 3% like emergency management.
And this conversation is so productive. It can alleviate some of the worries we had in the previous conversation with Toys Go Round. So this is really good news.
Yeah, this was, but I couldn't say anything before this.
Yes, sure.
Because you all needed to know this piece of it, and that was closely held. Even Michael, Michael shaking his head, I have to go make amends to Michael after the meeting.
Well, I was doing some reaching out, but other people haven't got calls back, so it's interesting.
So the good news is that you won't have to move your staff right now. If this proceeds.
Yeah.
That's
And also another thing is assuming the IT still moves after you get the jail auto model, we'll have that room available then for
Member thing.
staff at some point.
So anyway, this is, if everyone agrees on this, as far as I'm concerned, this is a sigh of relief after 6
We're
months
doing
trying
the
to
work
do
on
this.
this.
I agree. And these are just partitions that are what, 5-6 foot?
The same thing that we had at the DHS building. There's storage right back there in the garage.
Oh, that's right. There isn't.
I mean, they're all there.
Thank you.
So will you work on who's gonna work on getting the doors, 2 doors
I'll
installed?
get that. Well, I'll work that. I'll get with Halverson. We'll get a contractor, perhaps even the one that we're doing this. And that's the same one that did when we created that one office over there and divided up that conference room. So this can be done rather
Inexpensive.
inexpensive. The main thing was the expense side of it.
And this wouldn't even have to be a wall. This
Well-
counter, you could just have a little swing walk through door.
Wait,
That don't really
except-
matter.
I think that this is a work area out here. There is a row of cabinetry not shown here. I thought was existing, but I haven't been in there, so I couldn't architecturally draw it. But I think a short stub wall here that creates this little alcove is a smart way to, the people come in
Kind of like in the assessor's office now, there's a short counter
and there's a little swinging.
and then a
gate.
swinging door at the end.
But
or-
this gives privacy to the other working staff back here. Or if they need, so then they can obviously then direct someone through here to go meet with one person or the other inside this. And then I know that Jared likes his coffee, so I thought it was a good idea to put the door through to the
Yeah,
lunchroom
that's
back
what
there.
I'm saying.
Otherwise, they have no access.
Access.
Exactly. And they'd have to all then use this common restroom out here in the front lobby
It's here to be better.
without it. And that's a simple fix.
Egress reasons, you may want to have 2 ways for them to get out.
You know, yeah, you don't want.
I think
Everyone
that's-
have to go out that front one.
Or if you have if somebody could, we talk about it in safety meetings, if you have an intruder who comes in irritated and threatening
In the
mayhem.
front door, you.
And that can happen in
Yeah.
accessories.
That's why I wonder if we
That's
don't need a door back here.
when you need it the most, unfortunately.
So that's my recommendation after all of this on the county assessed. I'll work out a layout for the attorney's space through Andy and get back to you on that.
I would maybe
Dave?
ask Jared if he wants another door over here so he can access that back break room, restroom area. And not just have one exit out of his.
You can
closed
put, no,
off.
they're.
No, I couldn't
two
put
doors
one
in there.
in his private office, you mean? No, I couldn't,
No?
because on the other side of the wall where you're
There's
pointing, there's a
refrigerator.
refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
This is the plumbing wall back, common with the assessor's office where there is a
I see
kitchenette
that.
for the staff.
Yeah, because that other door back here is the one that goes into the breakfast or lunchroom, is it not?
Right,
We put that one in up here,
Yeah.
but that other door back here goes.
that's the common entrance for
Yes.
Spectrum staff to go into that lunchroom. So everything about that works out nice. You got both handicap restrooms right back there. Everything about that meets all the codes that I can think of.
There's a comment on mine.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, you probably should ask the city if we'll need a permit to do that. Because there was a question about that when we did the first remodel down there. So,
Yeah, that's up to the contractor. I think, but I don't know if I can play with the camera back here and show this to you, Mark, since you're.
well, I totally, I pretty much haven't, I know what you're doing, and I think it's a great idea, but I just hope we make sure we have our permits and things in place before we. Yeah. Looks great.
That's better than an email, Mark.
Yeah.
Quicker.
And I still, sometimes wonder about that common break room down there, that right now, only one organization can utilize it, so.
Wait, just a second, Mark. I can't hear you because there's other conversations happening at the same
You want
time.
to talk just a little louder too,
Yeah.
Mark?
Sure. I still wonder about that common break facility down there that is underutilized. If we should look at that as part of a renovation project. Because DHS uses a different room for their breaks. Toys Go Around and food pantry can't get to it, and I don't know how much Spectrum uses it. They said last time they really don't use it, so.
I think food pantry
They can go through it. They get to it.
But
After hours,
well,
They
don't
don't
they
eat-
have their own? Isn't there
they got their own bathroom.
they've got a bathroom and a kind of a small kitchen area in their own space, Mark? Is that right?
the food pantry? There is one, the bathroom in there, yes.
Yeah.
And it's a handicapped accessible bathroom, but they don't use the break room, and neither does Toys Go Around, to my best of my understanding. So if it's just, and there was talk about potentially Spectrum doesn't use that common break room either. So if it's not being used or utilized, we should look at maybe
Remodeling that as well.
There's
Yeah.
bathrooms there and stuff. There ain't a whole lot of remodeling to do in there. That's basically what it's gonna be, as a break room. If the assessor's office goes down there.
Yeah,
They need
we can
break
look
room.
at it down the road.
I don't know that we're required to provide a break room, but that's.
But that's all I have to add.
You got something else yet, Mike?
I was just I had a whole other conversation that I didn't know I was gonna have with some board members, so there's that, but I was gonna talk to you about, just what it is, where we're at on, Wellington kind of a thing, so you can take that off the air if you'd like.
And that's what we're sitting waiting on that, appraisal, but I would expect it in pretty quick. I should probably give him a call, so.
Yeah, I know that Mike Shimmick is,
I know he's got everything set. and
he's
everything.
chomping at the bit, so, and hearing this, I'm chomping at the bit so I can get locust shot going, so.
Okay. All right,
Thank you.
sounds good. Anyone, anything else for?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion in 2 seconds. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Just a reminder, no meeting next week.
Isn't that, the accessory more square footage then?
Oh, yeah. It'd be,
There should be a little bit of benefit that way then. Jared, this was gonna, Jared was okay with paying. But then that's
That's what I'm going to heard it. I stack between.
That's great.
That's just. It's like we charged.
Well, he's moving and all of a sudden getting rent. It's like, okay.
This is.
I can't do Barb's thing, 'cause I got one more OR thing this week. So I just-
Thank you very much.
I wish I could go.
Yes.
Some representative.
It's really open-minded. None of that's hot.
There's only two supervisors here across the month.
My fleet. Yeah. Maybe that. Yeah. Six. Six. Six.